Another good day, everybody. It's 18th of March, 2025. It's Tuesday. It's like, what is it, 7:45 in the morning? Well, it's before 8 o'clock anyway. And I always have to rush these things out. I still have classes and all that kind of stuff, and hopefully everything will change a little bit. Maybe when the classes are finished, I think maybe 1st of May or something like that, right around that time. So, yesterday I put out a video and it was talking about, did I tell you how cold it is? It's -5. Jeez, I thought this would be getting better. But yesterday in my video, it's like questioning, all of this stuff going on, all these hostilities breaking out everywhere, and wondering where the next war will break out. But there's been so many wars that it's just a continuation of another war. That there was a ceasefire called in Israel and Gaza area, and Bibi Netanyahu, he decided that he's going to attack Gaza again. So it was another massive attack last night, and he's bombing refugee camps. And I guess the only thing that maybe you could call successful about it is supposedly he killed the new leader of Hamas. I don't know how many leaders they get and how often they get them, but they are getting assassinated like they're using toilet paper or something. Just like in Hezbollah and all that. As soon as there's another new leader, that one's assassinated as well. What better way to destabilize what they call terrorists anyway? And the United States is trying to kill off the leaders of the Houthis as well. So the United States, it's the third day of their massive bombing against the Houthis. So I don't know, is these wars or not wars? I guess I would call them wars, just as much as Russia is calling this deal in Ukraine a special military operation, and not a war. But I don't know, I guess when they go all out and they marshal more economic resources against a country, then it's war. But as they say, there is going to be no more declared wars, because when you declare war, it sets in a lot of mechanisms, I guess maybe from the United Nations, where people are not allowed to trade with countries that declare war and things like that. That's why they don't declare wars anymore. They just conduct wars, and they just don't call them wars. And so look at this, another school playground over here. Lots of playgrounds you guys are seeing. There's all kinds of things for children all over in Belarus, but they're bad people. But they're bad people, like you're supposed to believe. Putin, they hate children. Oh God, yeah, it's kind of sickening. But anyway, a little bit more news. Let's see. Trump, I guess that's some of the big news. Trump coming out and saying that everything the Houthis do that can be called violence or anything acted against Israel is directed by Iran. He's acting as if the Houthis are complete and total utter puppets of Iran, just like the United States are complete and total puppets of Israel when it comes to Middle East foreign policy. That's pretty much undeniable. It's all these wars, and most people have already come out and said that all these wars are for Israel. They're all for Israel, 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 Israel. I've said in other videos, I said, well, who is the one? Who's the puppet of whom? It's like, I don't know. Do you look at evidence, or do you just look at words? I don't know. And then you have a lot of congressmen, senators, and all that, and everything about what they say or what they do all over in their office. They got Israeli flags and all this stuff. And it's sort of like the Democrats when they were protesting Trump when he was speaking to the joint session of Congress. There was not an American flag. They had Ukrainian flags, but they didn't have an American flag. I don't know where all these people put their loyalties. And as you know, and I'll get into that, it's about the loyalty of the Ukrainian government anyway. Their loyalty is not to their people. It's not even to their territory. Their loyalty is to the ideology. And I guess you can almost say that about the Israelis as well. But they are in a more powerful position to gain territory, to expel Arabs. But, if the Ukrainians have an ideology to massacre the Russians, the Israelis have an ideology to massacre, or maybe they're a little bit more, what do they call it, compassionate. If the Palestinians just get out of there, get out of all the lands that they claim to be the future Israel, and of course that will include the Syrians, and it'll include the Lebanese. They all have to get out of there. I mean, don't they just understand? God gave that land to the Israelis. I mean, how many times do they have to be told that? Oh, God, how ridiculous. You know, makes you sick, doesn't it, all this crap going on? So let me keep on going. I haven't even started on my notes. I want to get this done fast because I still got a lot of homework to do and things like that. But this stuff, as you know, I'm kind of addicted to doing this sort of thing. I guess it's like an ideology. I don't know. But like I said, Trump, he talks about stop the killing and all that, but yet he's doing a lot of killing. I think I might have even put here somewhere. Oh, it's no, that's Gaza. Oh, the death toll in Gaza. I was saving a lot of this to the end, but while I was, it was only when I started reading the news this morning, it was only like a hour or two old, and maybe it was still ongoing that Israel was still bombing places in Gaza. They're bombing refugee camps, tents burning. They're killing people that are in their tents. And like I said, maybe some of it is successful according to certain entities, because they killed some of these Hamas leaders. It depends on how you designate Hamas. Damn you better call them terrorists. But that information is very shaky, whatever the information that Israel provides to the rest of the world about Hamas. So let's talk a little more. Okay. And I said yesterday about, even Trump, him saying that Iran is behind everything that the Houthis do. And remember yesterday he had his chilling warning against Iran that they have to prove that they're not making nuclear weapons, before he's, going to start. Well, he's how do I say this? He has promised action against Iran unless they prove that they have stopped making nuclear weapons. And it's like I said, how do you prove a negative? How do they prove something that does not exist? It's like, well, okay, the equipment that we didn't have, we got rid of it, and I don't know. Iran came back and said, we're not making nuclear weapons. And Bibi Netanyahu, he started in 1984 talking, Iran is 2 weeks away from having a nuclear bomb. How many times have you heard that? He goes in front of the Congress. And he had that little cartoon bomb, remember? And he said, all the way up to the top, and it's like 5% away from the bomb exploding. And he said, that's how far Iran is on having a nuclear weapon. Now, this was many years ago he said that. It's a long 2 weeks. It's a long 2 weeks. Okay. And apparently, as far as what's going on in Europe, this is a little bit a lead up to war. Marco Rubio called Viktor Orban of Hungary and said not to veto the extension of the sanctions against Russia. So it's like, well, I thought they were trying to reconciliate with Russia, but yet they said not to veto that bill so that they can keep the sanctions going against Russia. And of course, that's the European Union anyway. Maybe it doesn't really matter, and the European Union, I think it was Kaja Kallas, they're looking for ways to bypass countries such as Hungary or maybe Slovakia when they seek to veto EU decisions. In other words, they want to turn it into a total and utter dictatorship to where the leadership of the EU decides everything for everyone, all countries, and all policies of the European Union. Wow. They don't even know what they're getting into. Okay. Let's see. Netanyahu. He's claiming that Hamas, that he destroyed, he said. I thought he said he destroyed them. But anyway, they're claiming another attack on Israel equal to the scale that on that October 7th, which, of course, is all fake anyway. And I've said it times, and I'd have to keep reiterating and make this video longer. Instead, I would say go seek Max Blumenthal, who's Jewish, by the way, and he exposed what was really happening, that Israel are the ones that killed all those Israelis, and of course heavy fines for Israelis that come out and talk about what they've experienced. So you can look that up yourself. And I remember, called that out 2 years ago, mostly because I, not even hearing from Max Blumenthal, it was coming from other sources that all these Israelis, they were kind of shocked. It says, like that they were hiding in the houses, and that the Israelis, some of the ones that did survive, they said it was the Israelis firing on them, not the Hamas. But you're not supposed to say that. Shh. Oh gosh. I talked about that. Yeah, and I guess that letter from Iran was to the United Nations, complaining about Trump and, all the crap that he's coming up with. I don't know what's up with Trump. I mean, obviously, can you call him anything except a Zionist? And there's a lot of people that, theories that say that a Christian that is a Zionist is much more dangerous than a Jew that is a Zionist. So, boy, oh boy, oh boy. And who else? Let me think. I was just hearing about like Angelina Jolie and her father. They're Zionists. They're I don't know. Are they Christians? Supposedly Christians. But you can almost say that George Bush, all of these people. But it's kind of strange when you talk about the politicians. It's not like that they are Zionists, but they are enslaved and they are puppets. They are actually, what do you say? They're hostages. They're hostages to the, AIPAC, the American Israeli Public Affairs Committee that runs the, that it's you guys already know this stuff. America sends a lot of money to Israel, and they never have to pay it back, at least a guaranteed $4 billion every year, and it normally comes out to be $10 billion every year with all the money that they send to Israel, and that's mostly including all the bombs and things that, like, even Trump, I don't know how many billions. I guess this year was a real record breaker. Maybe it was 15 billion. I don't have any idea. But anyway, a lot of that money comes back, and it goes to AIPAC, and then AIPAC, goes around and buys politicians. And and then they all go to the annual meeting there, and they stand up and say how loyal they are to Israel, even though they're Americans. And that's about the start of it. They get money to run for office. That's what keeps them in power, is the money from Israel, just about more than anything else, as well as military-industrial complex, the pharmaceutical medical complex, and things like that. Pfizer. I don't know. Whoosh, I'm maybe not supposed to talk about this stuff on YouTube. Oh boy. So it's like Netanyahu talking about this. That was a thing I was starting to wonder about. When he's talking about this, they're going to do another attack like this. Is this going to be another false flag? In a sense, that's what October 7th was, as a false flag. Netanyahu, there's way too much evidence that says he knew about that ahead of time. And, they were ready. They made it look like a surprise. And then, of course, they slashed and burned all of the cars and everything that was going on of Israelis while they were doing it with their Apache helicopters. Hamas didn't have anything like that to be able to cause that type of problem. But I don't, like I said, I shouldn't get into that. I don't want to be saying this stuff. Yeah, so a lot of bombing raids. So is there going to be a false flag or what? And I guess the death toll at the moment, what I read I don't know, maybe 15, 20 minutes ago, I think it was past 230 like civilians that they killed. Who knows how many the U.S. killed already in Yemen, because they were bombing it all last night too. I don't know, I was saying it yesterday in my video, so well, where and when will the next war be? Well, it's I guess it's going on already right now. It's a Middle Eastern war. Talk about, and then what about the war in Ukraine? And I'm going to get into that one too. That's incredible. And the Houthis say, they're going to escalate too. And I tell you what, morally speaking, the Houthis are right, are undeniably right. For example, did the Houthis bomb any ships or anything, for a long, long time? No, they didn't. So why did the U.S., you could call it an unprovoked attack. They just started again 3 nights ago, bombing the Houthis, because the Houthis said, and they didn't do it yet, they said that they would start again hindering, attacking shipping going to Israel. And as I said, most of the time nobody ever dies. And the ships turn around, and it's a big economic problem for Israel. And Israel's mad, so they ordered Donald Trump to attack the Houthis. So that's what's happened, in a sense. I mean, how can you even deny that? That's from one perspective, that they ordered. Maybe Donald Trump was just begging to do it. And a lot of people are talking now about this thing and, thinking that Donald Trump is really, really itching to bomb Iran. I mean, he's hinting at that. Is that a tactic? I don't know if Iran is going to fall for this, if it's a tactic or anything. I don't know if Iran has to do anything at all. They just have to say, well, we're not backing the Houthis. We're not making nuclear weapons. You just keep coming up with all of these accusations. Trump should know better, because he was the victim of a lot of fake news and lies, and now he is the one that's making the fake news. I mean, based on probably the crap he gets from Israel. Does he trust the Mossad? Does he trust Bibi Netanyahu? How many times has Bibi Netanyahu lied? I mean, I think he's broken the record of Zelensky and his invisible North Korean soldiers and all this stuff, and him saying he's an honest man and all that. Oh, he doesn't own those big properties in some of those places, even though he owns the companies that owns the properties, and his wife, it's some of the properties are in his wife's name, and like the big property in Israel, a multi-building complex from his parents, that's his parents, well, who's going to inherit that when they're gone? Anyway, but he paid for that, so okay. But I was talking yesterday, and I was thinking this was going to be a big deal between Lebanon and Syria, because Syria attacked Lebanon because they had information, apparently, that Lebanon killed Syrian infiltrators coming across the border. And Hezbollah said they didn't do that. Well, guess what? They called a ceasefire. And I was saying Israel is involved, and the article I read, it didn't say what brought them to a ceasefire, but I can almost bet you, and you've got to realize who kind of controls a lot of the press in the world. It's, a lot of these globalists and, Israel, there's a lot of Israeli. So I don't know. Is the truth going to come out, or is it going to come out maybe in a month, or is it ever going to come out? Maybe it's such a small deal, it only happened for maybe one day. I don't even remember how many got killed or something in that. But in one sense, if you think about this, just these, what do you call it, these big cliches or whatever, like Zelensky and the EU, they're talking about peace through strength. So they're saying, we got to take the Kursk region, we got to take over parts of Russia, we got to keep bombing them and killing civilians, because peace through strength. And look at what happened between Lebanon and Syria. Well, it was peace through restraint. So Hezbollah did not react to any attacks by Syria. They knew that it was fake, and I guess they were able to convince the Syrians, who are not their enemies, but as I said in that book, Every Spy a Prince, the Israelis are the masters of getting their enemies to fight and kill each other, and they just sit back and laugh, so they don't have to expel any resources or waste any lives or whatever, and watch their two enemies kill each other. So that was probably what happened. We'll find out. Okay, peace through strength doesn't work. Peace through, well, it doesn't always work. It does work sometimes. But, peace through restraint is actually much better. Yes, because when you have, say what's going on, say peace through strength, that's what Trump is using against the Houthis at the moment. And what he's going to have is probably something called war by resistance. So you can come up with all these friggin' little cliches and sayings that all these people come about, and it's not even worth making a cliche, because it just doesn't work. I mean, every case is different, depending on how much strength one has over the other, and and what is leading these people, such as an ideology. The ideology controls a lot of people. Well, we are the master race. We are God's chosen people. We are Ukrainians. Jesus is a Ukrainian, so therefore we are right. God is on our side. I don't know. Trump has got to learn about a lot of this stuff too, and it's I don't know, the EU. I don't know. Peace through strength. Okay, Trump. I was talking yesterday also about the JFK files, and I mentioned also at the same time, that they supposedly released these Epstein files, and of course they were all, as I hate to say this, Zionist people that they gave them to, and we haven't heard anything since then. It's been over a week, and normally these people are, they get teams, and they have like teams of people going through, and the file was like a notebook, and that was the first trench, and nothing was released. And then some big truckload came in, I guess a day or so later, and Pam Bondi was talking about, oh, we got a whole truckload. She seems pretty straightforward on all of this, and we haven't heard anything even from that, that anything has been released. Maybe they're still compiling that. Who knows? What do they have? Only 20 people, or do they have 100 people going through all this stuff? I don't know. I don't know. Don't hold your breath on that one. But the JFK files, Trump says he's going to release them today. And he said he hasn't seen them. And some people that have seen them, at least most of them, they said it's nothing that we don't already know. What does that mean? Does that mean the so-called conspiracy theorists were right? And there's a whole lot of stuff about that. And the CIA, of course, they purposefully misdirected so many different points of the investigation by even ongoing when they were doing it. What was it? Jackie Kennedy said the man that was lying in the coffin is not her father. And I think Robert Kennedy said that. Robert said it, the same thing. Well, they're both dead by now. And anyway, and there were reports, all kinds of different reports. And then you guys that have to, I don't even know. Like I said, they've obfuscated it. I don't know this word. There's a word that when they create so many different things that you can't possibly find out really what the truth is. And I don't know if you're going to ever find anybody that will. And so anyway, forget about that. That's all I want to say about that. Trump is pulling Hunter Biden's Secret Service protection. And he's hiding out in South Africa, Hunter Biden, trying to avoid a deposition, where he would have to give information. So he's staying there, and he's not cooperating. And I think that's the reason that Trump gave for pulling his Secret Service protection. I guess even I don't know if it's his wife or they mentioned some woman, I don't know, connected with him. And she has even got 13 Secret Service people protecting her, some woman, and it's like, how many does Hunter Biden have? Does he have 30 or something like that? It really makes you wonder, hey, that's a pretty damn good business. You think of all these people that were in government and all that, Joe Biden or whatever, and you'd have thousands of people. Matter of fact, I've known a couple of those people that were they probably do work at this very moment for these people. Maybe they're getting a little old, not like me, 25 years old. So. But they might not be working there now, but they were definitely, and I'll tell you what, these were people, and you don't want to, when they have a gun, you don't want to get in any kind of dispute with them, because you're not going to win. They are so good. And from a long distance, like, let me see, what do I say? From here to the end of that building over there, which is maybe about, maybe between 50 and 60 feet. I don't even, I can get feet and meters mixed up. Anyhow, they can put a whole shot group in around the size of a quarter. They're so accurate with shooting. I've been to the shooting range with them. It's like, what? Wow. I didn't practice every day like they did, but, not every day, but they practice a lot. And then they were fast. I'm sitting there, bam, 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 and they're bam, 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 and wow. So don't mess with those people. And it's not like in television where, from twice the distance, some person that's not that trained has a handgun and they shoot somebody. It's very, very, very difficult to even hit somebody the size of a body. For just regular people, if you're not trained, from here to the end of this building, you probably would not hit the person. You would not even hit when you point a handgun at them. It's not as easy as you think it is. Okay, Tucker. He came out, and thank God, he came out and said bombing Iran will cause a huge loss. It'll cost a huge loss of lives and money for the United States. And I don't know. It's like I said, is Trump playing around here, or is he really trying, wanting to do this? Maybe he wants to be the president that finally, showed his total subservience to Israel and bombed Iran, because that's what they've been wanting for a long, long time. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I do have something else here. I thought that was the last part of this page here, and almost done anyway. But there's now footage that shows Israel, the refugee tents, burning and all that, and a lot of poor people, and obviously there's nobody from Hamas in those tents. They just bombed a refugee, trying to get, one of the big things is to try to get those people to leave. And now Trump, as you heard, he's trying to find a place to move out all of the Palestinians. Oh, they can come back if they want to. Yeah. As long as they have $1 million or $2 million to buy one of the properties that Trump says he's going to build. I don't know. It's a bunch of weird. I don't know. How can you even comment on crap like this? Yeah. But it's over 200 dead that they killed, and from that one. Oh no, wait, when was it? I think it was no. No, it's over 230. I already announced that earlier in this video. And I was also going to talk about something. Here is Ukraine. This is actually more of the bigger news. Ukraine, and who is it? This Levat or whatever her name is, the pretty blonde young girl that was Donald Trump's press secretary. She's saying, "Oh, we're at the 10-yard line. We're just about finished a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine." And I'll tell you what, they're no closer now than they were 2 years ago, because you hear the rhetoric coming out of Ukraine, and they said, no, they're not going to give up on any of the territories, including Gaza. No, they're going to continue to try to get into NATO, even though NATO said you're not coming in, at least the present Secretary General of NATO, as well as the United States, and as well as some of the other people said they would veto it. Oh, gosh. And then what are some of the other things? They're going to continue to recruit and train soldiers, and they're going to continue fighting. And no, they're not losing in Kursk. They're not going to evacuate. They're going to still continue to try to hold the Kursk region. Yeah. And I don't know. My mind just goes at blank when I start thinking of this stuff, because it's all so contradictory to what should be happening. Now I forgot even what I was going to say. I get off on the tangents on myself, but it had to do with this, and it was about the ideology. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I would go into that, and it's they don't care about their people. I mean, they care nothing. They care zero. All the leaders of Ukraine care zero, absolutely zero, big zero for the people of Ukraine, big zero. They care a tiny little bit about the territory, but the territory, all that is it's like a consequence. It's like Donald Trump, maybe trying to get peace between Ukraine and Russia, and the goal is his success. And like other people say in articles, they said it's his ego. So that's his ego. And the product of giving him a big ego is, accomplishing small things. And for the Ukrainian Banderites, the Nazis there, getting back the territory or holding territory is nothing. It's the same thing. They don't care that much about it, but it is an indication of them being successful, dominant, the master race. So that's what that has to do with it. And it's just incredible. And they will fight and die to the last Ukrainian. And it makes you really wonder, well, where is the leader of these Banderites? When they get down to the last Ukrainian, well, probably the one who runs these people is probably somewhere overseas, and probably not even Ukrainian at all. But I don't know. And they're maybe not even of that ideology, but they're using that ideology. It's really strange now. They're using the ideology to destroy Ukraine in hopes that they can destroy Russia. So the whole deal is, it's this hate Russia club, and that is nothing but an ideology in its own. That's undeniable. The hate Russia thing is an ideology, and it's probably even passed on from generation to generation. Now, this one is handed down to us from the Cold War. And you would think, oh, well, we were making friends with Russia, but I guess a lot of people never lost that, and their dream and their indoctrination, it's down to their soul. It's a hate Russia. We got to get Russia. I don't even know if they know why they want to get Russia. Some of these politicians, it's like, well, I don't know. Well, we got to get them because they're bad, because they're evil. Never know. But always was the big business behind them, and they want to get in and get the resources. Now there's a lot of companies moving into Russia, and some of the restraints that the government of Russia is putting on a lot of these companies are greater than the restraints that they had before they had this massive pullout after the special military operation began. But there's a lot of very favorable aspects of it, such as cheap energy, and the restraints, like I said, are just to hold them from doing the same thing again and causing a big ruckus in the society. But then a lot of these niches that when they took off out of Russia, they've been filled by Russian companies, such as McDonald's. So if I think it is McDonald's that does want to come back in. Starbucks, I think, wants to come back in, but the niches have all been filled. I'll tell you what, there's far more coffee shops in Minsk than you can even shake a stick at. When I came here in the year 2000, there was no coffee shops. Maybe you'll find one or two, not really even coffee shops, but now there are coffee shops coming out of their ears here. And then some people, it's like they're addicted too. They live to go to coffee shops, a lot of people here. That's incredible. Some of them are bakery coffee shops, and they probably have a lot of that stuff in the United States anyway, so, okay. But they want to get these territories back. And I'll tell you what, the attitude that Donald Trump should have when he's looking at this is just that everybody should have, and nobody really talks about it, but the real attitude is that these people, the Ukrainian maniacs that are running the country in Ukraine, that don't even care about if they kill off all the people in Western Ukraine, these people have lost the right to govern those territories. They've lost the right to it, because when you're bombing these people, when you're doing all this stuff and forcing these people, trying to basically enslave them, and ordering them, you will not speak this language or else. I mean, all of these things. And then they were bombing them for 8 years. And of course the press, I think at the very beginning they were mentioning that in the Western press. I think maybe it was for some months, and then they stopped doing that. And as far as everybody knows, oh no, they were never bombing their own people, if you want to say it that way. The people that they want to again gain control over, bombing the cities, bombing children's and school buses and things like that. I mean, what do you think? They have no right to govern over these people. And if Donald Trump was a little bit more rational, well, actually is pretty rational when it comes to Ukraine, not Israel and Palestine and all that. But if he were a little bit more rational, he would see that, and he would probably use that in a statement, that these people have no right to govern over those people. But anyhow, the United States is on board with them not getting back those territories. Maybe that's a thought he harbors anyway, but not the Europeans for some reason, and not the Nazis, which are definitely Nazis running Ukraine, unfortunately. Wow, 13,000 they killed. Yeah, anyway. Again, last night, Ukraine attacked Russia with drones. I guess there were 64 drone attacks, and I said in other videos, Ukraine has more drones than Russia does. Russia is just more effective, and I guess the former owner or leader or CEO of BlackRock, Eric Prince, Blackwater. Get them mixed up. He's of Blackwater. He said that the Russians are infinitely better with defense than they were at the beginning of the special military operation. He's basically said that the United States should not go against Russia or never put themselves in any position. And you can let these insane people from Great Britain and France, and who knows if they're even serious. I mean, who could be really that stupid? That stupid. They have inferior militaries, and they're acting as if right now they want to go to war against the Russians and wanted to send troops into Ukraine, and Russia said, no, you're definitely not going to do that under any guise. Peacekeepers or Girl Scouts, you can have them wearing ballerina tutus, and dancing around or something like that, and they're still not going to let them in, Russia, because obviously, you see how that happened already. You put a couple people in there, you put some some good Samaritan nuns and church people in, and then you start, you know, replacing them slowly one by one, and then they start having some guns. The first a couple bullets, you know, I think Obama started with pillows or something, and anyway, they're gonna eventually it's just gonna be a big fighting sport. That's how it all happened anyway in Ukraine. It gradually escalated. The escalation escalator, I think, as Alexander Makura said it. But anyways, what is this? It's long enough, this video. And anyway, so the wars are already starting. Boy, escalation. I don't know. What am I going to call this video? I don't even know. I'll think of something. I think of these things on the spur of the moment. So anyway, people, that's all I have to say for today. I don't want to drag on too much longer. And thanks for joining me. Tomorrow, the next two videos are going to be in the later afternoon. So, and yeah, 10-yard line, peace deal. I don't think so. Okay, that's it for right now. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you on the next one. Probably not today, probably late tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye.